Hey, friends. Welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. Come join me, your host, Nicole, for some hope-filled conversations about heartfelt entertainment that makes your heart swing. Hey, Hallmarkies. Welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. I'm your host, Nicole, and I am once again joined by my friend Catherine to talk about Hallmark Christmas 2024, week 7. And this is part 2 of our episode for Thanksgiving, starting with Believe in Christmas. It stars John Reardon and Megan Ory. It was written by Maggie Dolan and Christy Will-Wolf and directed by Christy Will-Wolf. Although skeptical of holiday magic, Beatrice reluctantly joins her best friend on a trip to Christmasland where she meets a charming stranger named Ethan. Soon, she begins to question what's real and what's part of the experience. Welcome back to the podcast, Catherine.
Thank you, Nicole.
Of course, I am so excited to chat about these
Yeah, I
movies
am
with you.
too. This one was a lot of fun in different elements. So
Yeah,
I'm excited to talk about this one.
I agree. I enjoyed this one. So, what were your first impressions on this movie?
Overall, it was literally like you were in a Hallmark movie inside
Mm-hmm.
of a Hallmark movie. So I appreciated that one.
Yeah.
And my favorite aspect out of everything was the cliches and the tropes
Mm-hmm.
that they
Mm-hmm.
announced were going to happen before they happened.
Yes.
So and so I thought it was just a fun in that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
I laughed a lot more than I expected to because
Mm-hmm.
it seemed like there was definitely some tongue-in-cheek stuff going on with it.
Yeah.
And so and to me this was one that I didn't know anything about going into it. So
Yeah.
I actually had seen that last 5 seconds or whatever
Okay.
before a movie. So that was as far as I knew about it. So it was just kind of a fun, not
Yeah.
sleeper hit. I don't want to call it that, but it was a fun,
Yeah.
unexpected surprise.
Yeah. I think it kept me engaged the whole
Yeah.
time. It was a fun movie. Yeah. I enjoyed it.
I like the being inside of it where you're trying to figure out what element you
Yeah.
are of inside of a movie. And who doesn't want to
Yes.
live on a Christmas movie anyways?
Yes. And I loved how real life couple John and Megan got to work together.
Yeah, if you knew, you
Mm-hmm.
could tell that they were a real life couple. I tried to really
Yeah.
separate it and try to make myself separate it
Yeah.
for this, but there were some elements where, like
Yeah.
he would hold on to her back or touch her
Yeah.
when I was like, she hardly knows him as a character, so I think that might be a little too soon, but I was like, that's them in real
Yeah.
life.
It's
And
obvious. Yeah.
I just thought that that part was just an extra sweetness to
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yes. And fun fact for the Hardys out there, John Reardon was Nathaniel Tolliver in season 1 of When Calls the Heart,
Oh,
the head of the
learn something?
Tolliver gang.
Got reminded on something. All right, cool.
Yes, the one that held Elizabeth at gunpoint.
Oh, well, the charming character. Actually, when you said it, I was thinking he was a different one with that name. I was
Yes.
thinking somebody else, but okay, now I can put it two and two together. Okay, got it.
Yeah, the one that kidnapped Elizabeth and Julie. The one
Got,
that Julie fell
oh,
for.
yes. Yeah. I'm sorry not to go off too off, but Julie in that episode, like, oh, let's bring him home. He's the best thing ever.
No! Julie Thatcher!
Oh, funny. Oh, I
Oh
was
my
thinking when
gosh.
you said that, I thought he was the father that came back,
Mm-mm.
but
No.
injured is the one that came to my mind thinking. So
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
he came to Hope Valley
yeah,
injured.
yeah,
And
got it.
then
Yeah,
Julie nursed him back to
yeah,
health and fell in love with him, if you can even call it love, which is not.
right. But it was literally like, what? I'm bringing him home. Dad will love him.
I love how Elizabeth, I don't have the exact line, but she was like, Julie, what are you thinking?
Exactly. Yeah.
You don't even know this man. I thought it had a good ensemble cast. I enjoyed all the characters.
Hmm.
They all did a great job in their roles. And I think my other first impression, maybe not necessarily a sequel, but I would love to see John and Megan. work together again
Oh yeah,
for
yeah,
Hallmark.
yeah. I agree.
I
So
thought,
this was their first time working together
I
that
think
you're
so,
aware
on screen.
of? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they had a great chemistry, I
Mhm.
thought. Moving on to hits, what were some things that you did like about this movie and any standout scenes?
Well, I am stealing Friendness because I'd never heard
That's
that one
great.
before. I
That's
was
good.
like, because the family is, and
Hmm.
especially in this storyline, I appreciated that they kept true to her struggle as a
Hmm.
foster child of not feeling
Yeah.
that she had belonging.
Yeah.
And so for her to
Hmm.
like to have it be that that friend miss because your family is can be your chosen
Hmm.
family too, not just the
Yeah.
one that you were born into. I really enjoyed. So the hits to me was the friendship between the two because
Hmm.
they were yin and yang, and
Yes, they
he
were
was
great.
pushing, like there was definitely M was really pushing, like, but you
Hmm.
don't have an excuse not to, kind of a thing, and
Yeah.
not going to let her just slide under the carpet or
Hmm.
whatever, kind of a thing, and get out of it. And
Yeah.
so it seemed like they had a real genuine
Hmm.
sisterhood friendship, which I really appreciated.
Yeah, I think so too. I loved their friendship. Also, I don't think we got enough of it, but the mother-son relationship with Carol and Ethan was nice.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
And all the Christmas feels, town snowball fight,
yeah.
which
Every possible trope or cliche was announced in this, and I that was the part that I was like, this is great.
yes, which Beatrice called it in the car, on the way to Christmas Land, the Hunger Games of Christmas themed town.
Yes. Yeah. Another hit for me was, well, he could, like how much they were talking about,
Hmm.
like the girls were talking, don't get in the car with him. We don't know him. He could be a serial killer. And he goes, well, the serial killer of Santa Land or Christmas Land
Christmas
or
Land.
whatever is ready to take you now.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I just, like there was some dang good humor in this one and because I'm like, you knew there was no way that he wasn't overhearing. And the same happened with another conversation between them. And I love that once again, they did
Hmm.
not let it slide, that was
Yes.
they put it in as part of the story.
Yes, I actually have Amelia's line written down when,
Mm.
he's arriving to, save the day because their car broke down.
Oh yeah.
And she says, I bet he's a ruggedly handsome blue-collar knight in shining armor, probably wearing plaid and with a full head of like amazingly manly hair. And the strong shoulders. The male leads always have the nicest shoulders.
I loved that. And then I loved where she's just like when Beatrice is just like, this is not good, this is not good. And she's just like, what do you mean? It's starting already. Christmas Land is starting already. This is part of it. And I guess I never really, maybe how it was explained. And I was more interested in not
Hmm.
necessarily the description of Christmas Land with the conversation between the girls at the
Hmm.
restaurant having coffee.
Yeah.
I was more into listening to, like the feels of their friendship and stuff like that. But
Hmm.
at what I maybe didn't realize that it was supposed to be it was immersive, like you were going into literally be in a Hallmark Christmas movie play kind of a thing. And so then
Yeah.
when it was more of that and they knew that kind of a thing, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. So I think I
Yeah.
just missed that announcement of that's what it really was.
The meet cute I thought was great.
Yeah. And then the
And
puppy.
oh yeah, Jingles, I think was the puppy's
Yes,
name.
Jingles. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Such a cute puppy.
Okay, and for another hit for me was I loved
Yeah.
Megan's wardrobe, that
Oh,
blue
yeah.
jacket and the blue
That was
hat.
cute.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
was just like, it was great. I loved
Yeah.
that. There's only a few little misses with me for it, so I
Yeah.
enjoyed so much of it that it was basically all of it,
Yeah.
which
I did
was,
too.
like I said, I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. I had a lot of scenes that I enjoyed. I enjoyed all of Ethan and Beatrice's scenes, a couple in particular. I enjoyed when he's giving her the tour of Christmas
Hmm.
Land and all the different stops that they make and we see them sledding too towards the end
Yes.
of that. And
and then he's like, "Do you want the whatever?" And she's just like, "Oh,
Ethan
whatever,
special.
ex murderer or whatever, the Ethan special." It was just like he was like into it immediately, a playing
Yeah.
along kind of a thing. So yeah.
Yes. The carriage ride I thought was nice. I think if I had to pick one scene from this movie that's my favorite between them, it would be when they're at the cabin that was built by his grandfather.
Mm,
And just that whole conversation.
yeah.
Like
Nope, I
from
agree.
beginning to end, that whole scene was great. The talk with Beatrice and Amelia about the holiday romance cliches and Ethan
Yes.
about the ex. When Amelia mentioned the ex, I was like, they're gonna bring in an ex.
Yeah, yes. And so yeah, they had that. And then once again they had the mean girl who to the baker. And then she's like, I did my part so well. And then my
Yeah,
favorite line from her when she's like, "Oh no, I'm happily married with two kids," kind of a thing. You know,
yeah.
it's all part of the show or to make you feel like you're really experiencing or whatever. But I don't know if it ever was her who said this line, but one of them said, well, yeah, there's a puppy because a puppy helps two people fall in love or something.
I
Wait,
think
I wrote it down.
so. Yeah.
Puppy makes two people fall in love, and I was just like, oh, you know, like it was just because I was like, there's always going to be an animal, there's always
Yeah.
going to be this understanding.
Yes. The holiday bake off and Beatrice winning, I thought was really fun.
Oh, and I'm sorry, in tongue in cheek for like, so my cookie really didn't win. Well, no, did you taste your cookie?
Oh my gosh.
She's like, no, you didn't win. That's just part of the show.
Love a good holiday bake off. Those are always
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
The conversation that Beatrice had at the end of the movie with Carol
Mm-hmm.
about Christmas Land and Ethan, and then, Beatrice goes to drop off, I think it was the ornament
Yes.
that
The
Carol
angel,
gave
yeah.
her. Yeah, the angel ornament. And
Mhm.
she's not expecting Ethan to be at the cabin, but he is. And then
Right.
they make things right. Or he makes things right with her. And they share
Yeah.
their first kiss.
The angel was actually a miss for me just
Okay.
because I was like, how? I mean, I not the idea that it was lost. All of that
Yeah.
was definitely, but I think the fact that I was just like she found it so easily,
Mm-hmm. I see what you're
and that
saying.
just I'm like, did you not clean your North Pole B&B? Oh,
Yes.
because it was just supposedly underneath like an armoire or something like that. So I was
Yeah.
kind of like, so that was a little bit with that one, but I loved the
Yeah.
story behind it of why it was so important and
Mm-hmm.
meant so
Yeah.
much to her and Ethan's mom and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah. And this was, I think it was in between the beginning and the middle of the movie, but I loved the Leave It to Beaver reference. I think it was
Oh, they
after
have
the
a lot of good
dinner.
ones.
And I think Ethan was asking her something about, is she enjoying her time here or did she enjoy dinner? And she said, kind of felt like we were in a Norman Rockwell painting that would be in the home in Leave It to Beaver or something along those.
Well, we also got Whoville
Yeah.
mentioned. We got Grinch
Yep.
mentioned
hmm
numerous times.
Couple
And then,
times.
yeah, and then the Muppets were mentioned.
Yeah.
The only thing we were missing was the Disney Christmas Carol.
Yes. All the
So
references were great.
yeah, yeah, yep. There's a lot of pop culture ones in there.
Yes. Going to our misses, what were some things that you didn't like or wish for in this movie?
I really struggled with Porter
Yeah.
and M's relationship, Amelia's.
hmm
I just who he reminded me of was I thought he was going to be an angel himself, like in It's a
hmm
Wonderful Life. That was
Okay.
kind of the vibes I was getting. She was just so carefree, and
hmm
it not that opposites don't attract. That's
hmm
absolutely happens, but there
Yeah.
was just something where I just was really struggling to believe
hmm
that they were, like
Yeah.
that was a couple that was just like kismet, magical
Yeah.
and things like that. And then when they were making the story a little bit more about trying to figure out if he was real versus
hmm
an actor, I was kind of like, when it supposedly was that he was real, I was like, no, I still wasn't convinced.
Mm-hmm.
So on that aspect, which is just a bummer. And then the other thing that kind of cracked me up was a miss was the owner of the B&B just basically barging in that first morning with
Oh,
cookies
yeah. I see what you're saying.
and then just be like, hey, I'm here,
Yeah.
sorry I missed you kind of a thing. Like I just was, and not that that doesn't happen, or I mean,
Mm-hmm.
obviously it doesn't happen in
Yeah.
real life, most likely, but, and it does happen in a Hallmark movie, but there was
Mm-hmm.
just something that was like, well, hello. And
Yeah.
basically like, your assignment. Like I just thought that some of that, I think, I mean, granted, that's the part of the whole entire story, and you don't really get
Yeah.
in on what it is till the end. It was still kind of a
Mm-hmm.
miss for me during the movie.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. So for me, the B story with Porter and Amelia, that was a miss. While he is a great actor, I agree with that. He did seem a little too old for her. I mean, not
Right.
old, but old for her.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it for me was the hat.
Yeah.
And because when he had his hat off, I really did concentrate trying to look to try to
Hmm.
gauge how old I thought he was,
Yeah.
because I had thought that too. But that's just kind of funny where it made a
Hmm.
little bit of a difference for me once he had his hat off.
Yeah, I agree. The conflict and misunderstanding was a little too predictable, but it didn't make me not enjoy the movie. It just, like the
Right.
previous one we talked about, it would have been
Yeah.
nice to have something a little bit different with the
Yeah.
conflict.
Well, this was the most confused ex that I had ever met, with like, what's actually going on kind of a thing, and why does she feel that I'm playing a part and stuff like that.
Yes.
Like, you had to wonder how long these two were together.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't believing that, there was a relation, that there
Mm-hmm.
really had been like a background relationship for them,
Mm-hmm.
because how would she not know where he was from kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So
And then this is more of a wish. I would have loved a couple more scenes with Beatrice and Amelia. I feel like we didn't get enough of their friendship.
I agree. Yeah, they definitely branched off with the love stories,
Mm-hmm.
and when they did that, they lost that dynamic that made them who they were.
Yeah. Moving on to ratings, what would you give the cast out of five?
I'm gonna give the cast a 3. I
Okay.
maybe 3.5. I loved the main couple. I just really
Mm-hmm.
struggled. There were some side supporting characters that I just struggled with, but that was also when
Okay.
I found out that they actually, that was part of who they were supposed to play in a different
Yeah.
version, kind of a thing. But overall, it just, like, if somebody makes you kind of like cringe right away, not in a,
Mm-hmm.
like the
Yeah.
baker,
Yeah.
I was just like, for example, and I know this is going a lot on a rating, but she asked for dairy free. So this is
Mm-hmm.
another miss. She asked for dairy free, and basically they just completely ignored her allergy that she
Okay.
asked for at a
Yeah.
bakery. And instead she, like, it was just like, to me, I was like, what am I
Mm-hmm.
missing here? There's some
Yeah.
times where it's just, I
Yeah.
wasn't sure if it was supposed to be her personality. And so it just
Okay.
made it hard for me to
Yeah.
enjoy the cast as a whole then.
I see what you're saying. I gave it four for the cast.
Okay.
And then chemistry.
Oh, I enjoyed John, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
John
I
and
enjoyed
Megan.
John and Megan together. And
I gave
and
it five.
sometimes that does not, when you're married in real life, sometimes it doesn't go
No.
onto screen. And I thought
Mm-mm.
it did with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I gave them five for
Yeah.
chemistry. And then Christmas feels, I gave this
Well, I
five.
mean, we were literally in a Christmas movie inside of a Christmas land, so 5.
Five. And then setting, I gave it five. I thought the town was great.
Yep.
And then the inn was beautiful too, the North Pole inn.
Yeah.
And then story.
Well, because I chuckled at a lot of it, I'm going to give it a 4.5. There was just a few misses, but overall,
Yeah.
I appreciated the story and the
Yeah.
writing.
Yes. I said 3.5 for the story, really because of the B story with Porter and
Yeah.
Amelia. That really brought it down.
Okay.
And then overall.
I'd give it a 4 overall.
Okay. I said 3.5. So
Okay.
solid movie, but
Yeah, I definitely would watch
yeah,
this one
I
again.
would watch it
And
again.
I
Yeah.
and I think it's one of those that each time you watch it, you're going to discover something a little bit different,
Mm-hmm.
because once again, so much stuff was happening in the movie too.
Yes. Yeah.
By having
Very true.
when you're in a land within a land.
Yes. Land within a land. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was great. And moving on to The Finish Line, starring Bo Murkoff and Kim Matula. It was written by John Bellina, Talia Gonzalez, and Nicole Drespel, and directed by Dustin Reichert. Anya, inspired by her father's legacy, competes in Finland's, I apologize if I am mispronouncing this, Ylä-Rawa race. Partnered with a new dog, she faces challenges, her father's rival, and her own anxieties. What were your first impressions on this movie?
Well, I loved Finland. It's
Yeah,
actually I have a friend who very like 100%
hmm
Finnish, and
that's awesome.
I've heard so many stories from her trips over there.
Yeah.
So all of that I really enjoyed that.
hmm
I enjoyed the storyline. However, the storyline confused me in some parts that we'll talk about.
Okay.
So overall, I it did what it was. It was a movie that it was the movie that it said it was. So in that aspect, I did enjoy it. I just yeah, there's some questions I have.
I understand you having questions about it. So yeah. I think a first impression for me was a message that I got out of this movie, and that is embracing the unknown because we
Mm.
saw Anya struggle a lot with that. But she
I
did.
literally wrote in my notes we were watching a Hallmark version of Frozen. And not in a bad way, but
No,
but
no.
character should have been Sven. I really felt like it was I just because it was like you said embracing the unknown
hmm
and then doing that journey and having that self-discovery. And Anya, I just and the fact
Yeah,
that they were in Finland, which is gorgeous in its
yeah,
way, like Arendelle.
yes.
So it was by no means am I mocking it. I
No,
literally
no.
kind of like I'm like, why did they name him Sven? And maybe
Yes.
that's my
Yeah.
miss.
Oh, yeah. I also, in a way, now I haven't seen this movie in a long time, so I can't remember everything about this movie, but it reminded me a little bit of the Disney movie, not Disney Channel, so Walt Disney
Okay.
Pictures movie. I think it was Walt Disney Pictures, Snow Dogs with Cuba Gooding Jr.
Oh, okay. Yes, yes, yes. It's been a long time since I've seen that, but yeah.
Yeah. Probably just because of the dog sledding, because that was another dog sledding movie.
Yeah. I appreciated the fact that they started the movie with,
Yeah.
her history, so you
The
understood.
flashback.
Yeah, the flashback really helped with all of
hmm
that. And then also they explained like why she had been
hmm
away from what she'd been to so long. Once
Yeah.
again, it was a movie about loss, unfortunately, but
hmm
very
Yeah.
relatable. And one of the things that really struck me was she compared the two losses of her parents because
Yeah.
and because she had lost one fast and she lost one
hmm
with a long haul, and that long haul was why she had taken such a break from
Yeah.
doing what she was doing and coming and this was her comeback to finally do
hmm
something for herself. And so
Yeah. I thought it was great. Yeah. Anya and Elise's friendship, that was a like for me. And I think Elise's character was, or the character of Elise was played by, I apologize if I mispronounce her name, Nicole Sakura. And I think she did a great job in that role.
yes, it took me forever to figure out where I knew her from, and then once I figured
hmm
it out I was like, oh yeah,
Yes.
Superstore.
Yes. The cousin
So I
relationship
knew her from comedy. Yeah.
with Lavi and Anya. I loved that relationship. I thought
Oh
that was
yeah.
great.
Yeah. What was his line? Like when he didn't want an all access badge or something like that
I don't
because
have
he
it
was
written
just
down.
there as the vet and the cousin or something.
I don't have it written down, but that was hilarious.
That there was some good comedy in this one.
Yeah, he did a great
Yeah,
job.
and then the other one with the reporters.
Oh,
And
those
the
scenes
one
were
who was
hilarious.
literally in your face, and then her friend being like, I got my elbows. They're gonna
Yes. Yeah. Seriously, Finland was a character all
mm-hmm.
on its
Oh,
own.
1000%. Yeah.
It was great. Beautiful. Creative concept with the dog sled racing.
Mm-hmm.
The banter with Bo and Kim was great,
Mm-hmm.
and the
I wanted
chemistry.
more of that. That
Yes,
that
me too.
that it was a love hate, or it was a hit and miss for me, where
Okay, yeah.
I feel like we just didn't get enough of that.
Yeah, I agree.
And
The
actually, Bo wasn't in it. I mean, well, he was in it as number two.
Yeah.
He really wasn't in it as much as I thought he would be.
No.
Yeah, I felt like he got underused, which was just kind of.
Mm-hmm. I
But
see what you're
but there
saying.
were many relationships to cover in this too. So
Yeah. Yeah. So I give them a little bit of grace for that because I
yeah,
mean they only have 90
80,
minutes.
80 yeah, 86 minutes or 84 or
Yeah.
something weird like that. Yeah.
I enjoyed the side story slash romance with Lavi and Elise. I thought that was really fun. And they had a great villain character with Monty. He was great.
Oh yeah. I had trouble with the cousin and best friend relationship. I guess I wasn't seeing it right away, where it just kind of feel like
Okay.
it came out of nowhere with it, and especially, like his reasoning of why,
Mhm.
kind of a thing.
Yeah, I see what you're
Um
saying.
which, I mean, is a total real truth with a lot of people
Hmm.
too, but I was kind of like, is she, and also was like, is she moving to Finland? I mean, like,
I
and not
see.
that you can't have a long distance. There was just
Yeah.
some of it that I just thought, like, for some reason that one was a little bit more of a stretch for me.
Okay.
But I loved the cousin character just in general. I thought he
Yeah,
was,
he's great.
and the best friend was a best friend sister who looked after her friend.
Yeah. I would have loved to have seen more scenes with Lavi and Elise. I feel like we only got a couple, so it would have been
That,
nice.
and I think that's just it. But once again, it was one of those relationships where they were talking about their
Hmm.
relationships in front of the guys too.
Yes. Yeah.
Another hit for me though was how much of the customs for Christmas, with like, even with the
Hmm.
baking and things like
Yeah.
that they made sure. And then, hello, big hit with the sauna.
That was great. That was one of my favorite scenes.
It was a real good conversation, and they actually got to know each other, and then there was just,
Yeah.
um some nice shots.
Yes. And
Hallmark After Dark, Catherine.
yes, Hallmark Extra Dark.
Hallmark Extra Dark.
Hi, Brennan, if you're listening.
I love that. I'm gonna get that as a t-shirt.
I can make one. I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh, I totally would wear it.
I can
I'm
make one for my merch
I'm I,
store.
I you know what I wanted to say? I'm here for the Hallmark Extra After Dark.
I can make one.
I probably should make one for this weekend.
Oh, because Kansas
Could
City.
you imagine wearing that in Kansas City? It's not too late. I'll just put a little sticker on something, and that'll be one of my shirts. Oh, that one was definitely like, that was the other thing where I felt like it was, once again, not in a bad way.
Yeah.
I really felt like we were watching a live version of Frozen, because I was like, oh, they're in the sauna, which of course is the area
Hmm.
anyways, and
Yeah.
the family traditions. And so, yeah.
Yeah. Anya would be me in the cold plunge scene.
Oh, yeah. Like, are we done yet? Are we done yet? We do the polar plunge here, and
Okay.
yeah, that's a no. That's
Yeah.
always the beginning of the year, but that's like the first thing you do to kind of
Yeah.
refresh yourself for the new
Yeah.
year here. And no, I've never polar
Yeah.
plunged. I never plan on it.
I recently mentioned this in a previous episode that I've recorded but not posted yet. I think it was for Jill and Jesse's movie on Great American Family. But I did the ice bucket challenge back in
Oh
2012
yeah,
or 13. I struggled with that. Like the water was freezing
yeah,
cold,
yeah.
but it was for a good cause. So that's all that matters. I did it for that.
Yes, that's totally fair. I
Okay.
really appreciated the heart to hearts that we got with them too, because
Mm-hmm.
once again, I feel like we didn't get Bo as much in there as I would love to have.
No.
So,
Yeah.
but I felt like what they did time wise with the
Mm-hmm.
material, with the scenes for the two of them, they did a really good job.
Yeah. I think my top two favorite scenes with them would be the one when they're at her and her cousin, Lavi's family's house. So they're aunt and uncle's house. And
Yeah.
they're talking when making the pastries
Hmm.
about, what the race means to her. And then, he mentions he's working on a book,
Yeah.
a collection of essays about people who had to lose big before they won.
Yeah. Yep.
And then the one, I think it was at a cabin when they were again talking about, what winning the race would mean to her in his
Hmm.
book, and they shared their first kiss. So those were my
Yeah.
top two favorite scenes with them.
Yeah. When she's like, I have one more question to ask you, or whatever it was, and she just leans in
Off
for
the
the
record.
kiss.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Off the record.
off
Yeah.
the record. And also in that scene, I thought it was fun how they brought in the concept of her finding the almond in the porridge.
Oh, yes. Yes. He's my almond. Yeah.
That was
He's,
great.
he's my lobster. Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
This was at the beginning of the movie, but one of my favorite scenes with Anya and Elise was when they were talking before the qualifier,
Hmm.
when Anya says, either we lose together or we win together. One
We're
team, one dream. One
yes.
team, one dream. One team, one
Yes. And they repeated that, a
Yes.
few different times, and then showed them as all a team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
And then the pep talk, I think, before the start of the race. So leg one, before the start of
Hmm.
leg one of the race, I thought was great. Another favorite scene, this was once again at Anya and Lavi's aunt and uncle's house. And it was the moment between Anya and her aunt Hilma when she was
Mm.
teaching her how to make the pastries.
Yeah.
That was a
I,
great
I
moment.
like I like because this is just such a family thing, but I love when they were
Hmm.
trying to figure out the dynamics of how are you, like, what is a
The
second
cousins,
cousin? What, yeah.
the
And I was
cousins.
just like, because I couldn't tell you how I'm related to half of the people I'm related to. So
I really enjoyed the sleigh ride with
hmm.
Cole and Anya when
Hmm.
he's sharing why he started and stopped racing.
Yeah.
And then the dinner with Lavi and Elise when he's talking about Christmas peace, I thought was nice.
Hmm.
This I really appreciated how they added this in the movie. So the last leg of the race, when Monty has, the accident and he injures himself, I loved how Anya stopped and helped him get his
Hmm.
sled. And then in return, along with Nitaro, I think I pronounced
Yep.
that right,
Hmm.
the two of them helped her by
Yes.
saving her
Yep.
life.
Yep.
So
That was
even though
wonderful.
they were in competition, they still helped one another out.
Yeah.
So I thought that was
Yep.
really touching. And she sees the Northern Lights and she wins the competition. Yay! Way to go, Anya! That was great. I loved Elisa's commentary on her win. You know how she just takes the
Yeah.
press
Yeah.
guy's microphone?
She was a fun friend. She was a fun character.
Yeah.
For Mrs., I have one, and I feel so bad saying this, but it just irked me. The green screens were so
Okay.
cringy.
I see what you're,
That's
yeah.
the only, because we were in a beautiful location,
Hmm.
and do I want Kim to injure
Yeah.
herself? 1000% not. But I mean,
Yeah.
it just was like there was just I kind of felt like that cheapened it a little bit. What was just such a bummer to me, but really there's no
Hmm.
other way to do it. And you just could, there's sometimes you can tell,
Hmm.
and sometimes it's a little bit better. And it was
Yeah.
just, unfortunately, it was one of those times that you could really tell. That even includes when they
Hmm.
were, in the hot tub, or in the cold bath, like
Yeah.
all those. I just because of the fact that we were in such a
Hmm.
beautiful area.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I think for me, my biggest thing was, and this didn't make me not enjoy the movie, but it didn't have a whole lot of Christmas feels to it.
I would agree with you. There really wasn't.
I mean, I enjoyed the movie, but I
Right.
wanted a little bit more Christmas than what we
Yep.
got.
Yep.
It felt more like a winter movie.
I agree. Yeah. It wasn't the fact that the race ended on Christmas Eve, right? So we got that. We
Yeah.
did get the holiday. We did get a holiday village. We did get a
Yeah.
holiday home
Sleigh
party, but
ride.
yes, but I agree with you. But it also kind of made sense
Yeah,
in
it
the
made sense.
aspect of her character of Anya because
Mm-hmm.
she really
Yeah.
she didn't celebrate. So I
Yeah.
could, it was just in that kind of aspect. While this
Yeah.
was a Christmas movie, it was
Yeah.
like the right amount of Christmas for her, kind of a thing.
Yes.
Yeah,
So, while I
yeah,
wanted more, I think it did make sense
yeah.
with the story. So,
And my other misses, I just feel like we didn't get enough banter between Kim and Bo. And I
yeah,
think and I just feel like there was just somehow there was some missed opportunities for it. But
I see what you're saying.
for a hit, I appreciated when he's like, I'm gonna be my own lead dog or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kind of a thing. Yeah. So
Going to ratings, what would you give the cast out of 5?
I give the cast a 4. And I enjoyed a lot of the side characters,
Yeah.
and there was a lot of laughter. So I'd give them a 4. I
Mm-hmm.
just feel like I'm not giving them a 5 because I feel like we got gypped on some chemistry between them.
Okay. I see what you're saying. I gave it a 5. I thought the
Okay.
whole cast was great. And then chemistry.
That would be a 4 or 2 just because I feel like I wanted more.
Yeah, I said 5 with the chemistry that we did get
Okay.
between everyone. Like friendship chemistry, romantic chemistry with
Hmm.
Bo and Kim, even with the little that we got. I thought
Yeah.
they had fantastic chemistry and I would love to
Yeah.
see them work together again.
I agree. Yes.
Christmas feels.
I'm with you. I give it a
Yeah.
3.
I
It,
said,
it was there enough.
yeah, I said 3.5.
Okay. Well, you were kinder than me.
And then setting, I said 5.
Oh,
Finland.
yeah, it was beautiful. Yeah. And
Yes.
one of my favorite shots was the aerial shots while they were doing the racing.
Oh, those were great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Story?
Once again, because of the fact that it was a coming to herself and,
Hmm.
like in taking care of herself, I'd give it actually a 5 for story for Anya's story.
Okay. I said 4.5. And
Okay.
that, I didn't mention this in Mrs. Well, I did enjoy, the end scene.
Hmm.
I felt like it maybe ended a little too abruptly. Does that make sense?
Nope, that completely makes sense.
Yeah. But I mean, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a great last scene. But I felt like there just needed to be a little bit more to that end
Yep,
scene.
that's fair.
And then overall,
I'd go with a 4 overall.
okay, I said 4.5. I really enjoyed this one.
The only thing I knew about it was dog sled racing. I didn't,
Hmm.
I really I didn't read the profile of anything beforehand or
Hmm.
anything like that. So it was one of those that I was pleasantly surprised with of the chemist,
Yeah.
of the two leads together too.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised too. I knew that I would enjoy it, but
Mhm.
I didn't know, how much I would enjoy it.
I agree.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I thought it was great. Well, this was so much fun, Catherine. Thank you for joining me once again. I had a great time, as always.
Thank thank you so much for having me, and I look
Of
forward to coming
course.
back.
Yes, can't wait to have you back, maybe for one more Christmas review, or maybe for When Calls the Heart Season 12. I
We'll
mean,
see
in
what happens.
4 weeks from tonight.
Yes.
Woohoo! Let's go. I am so excited. I am
I'm
so
so
pumped.
excited too. I need a nap first though.
I'm so pumped.
I haven't been wanting to do any edits or anything like that because I just haven't had the energy, and I'm like, I just
Yeah.
need to sleep. I've been
Yes.
so I will be ready. My Hallmark
Yes.
After Darkness will be there.
Let's go. I am so excited.
Well, I look forward to the next time for sure.
Yes.
Thank you
I
for
can't
having me,
wait.
Nicole.
Of course. All right, Hallmarkies. I think that wraps up our part 2 review of Hallmark Christmas 2024, week 7. If you enjoyed this episode and are watching on YouTube, you can like this video and share your thoughts about these 2 movies in the comments. If you were listening on Spotify, make sure to rate and review, as your feedback is always greatly appreciated. If you want to stay up to date on all of my episodes, you can subscribe to this channel on YouTube or follow along on Spotify. and make sure to turn on the bell so you are alerted when new episodes come. You can also find the podcast on Facebook and Instagram at Swing My Heart Podcast and Twitter at Swing My Heart Pod. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are in the world, and we will see you next time. We love y'all. Bye.
Bye.